Welcome to Legacy Cast, your source for hearing from top influencers, industry experts, and successful business owners who are telling their unique story about life, values, goals, business strategies, and the various causes they are so passionate about. Future generations will come to be impacted by what is happening today, whether positive or negative, and our mission is to focus on what is going to affect change for the better. Hosted each weekday by James Snow, a former U.S. Army combat medic, now founder and principal advisor of James Advisors Group, a full-service financial planning firm in North Texas. This is Legacy Cast. Welcome to the program, Legacy Cast listeners. This is your host, James Snow, coming to you from North Texas. And I have a fellow veteran and friend of mine, Mark Dudek, coming to you. He's from the East Coast, and I'll let him kind of go into specifics about that when he comes on. But Mark is someone who has CSD Hardscapes, and he does some concrete work, just really amazing landscaping type area there. So it's something that I certainly want him to be able to tell you about, and let everybody know what he's doing as far as to make the world a better place, and using his skills, his gifts, so to be able to brighten the lives of people. And so, without further ado, Mark, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, James. I really appreciate it, brother. It's an honor.
Now, Mark was telling me before we came on, and it's something I want to certainly give an opportunity to mention here. He just came out with an ebook that I'd like for him to tell everybody about, that just released, and that's about the thing that you do in your business with the hardscaping. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's more of a generalized step-by-step how-to on how to not only improve the value of your home, but it's what I call a comprehensive guide to hardscaping. It gives you kind of an inside look from the construction industry as far as doing your planning, doing your research, contacting your contractors, certainly doing your due diligence on researching them, and ways of setting a budget and things like that. So I mean, it's something that I took from the many years that I've been doing this, and figured I'd give the I don't want to say average Joe, I hate that term, but the layman, I guess you could say, kind of an inside guide to help everybody out.
Cool. Yeah, and a lot of people do like to kind of do their own thing, and so this allows them to take your wealth of knowledge and then just incorporate that into perhaps being able to incorporate this into their own life and to really make something better, because like they say, your house is your kingdom and it's your castle, and it's a way of being able to we as men we have that need to provide and protect, and so it gives the ability for people to be able to actually enact that in a very real way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that was my goal. I'm all about trying to help people with what I know, the very few things I do know anyway. But if I can help somebody, save a couple of days worth of planning or hundreds of thousands of dollars, try to make this process a little bit easier. I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah, and ultimately, that's really what we're on this earth for, is to make things better and to solve problems, to give the next generation something better than we had it. And so
exactly, that's one of the many things that I was taught growing up, was leave it better than you found it. So
right, yeah, it's something even all the way back to scriptural teachings, and something that we should be very mindful of.
Exactly.
So when you're thinking about legacy yourself, Mark, just thinking legacy in general, what first comes to mind?
What everybody's going to remember you as, what you're going to leave to carry on with this world.
So do you feel like it's important that people actively consider and make deliberate action on what they're doing today that's going to affect later?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It goes back to what we had just talked about, leave the world better than you found it. I think everybody needs to make that conscious effort. That's the only way, we're going to continue on for hundreds of years.
That's true. That's true. So how do your views on legacy and your plans for planning legacy affect what you do in your business?
I'm always mindful of it. It's always in the back of my mind, no matter what I'm doing. With the CSD Hardscapes, it's part of my spiel that it's a veteran-owned, family-operated company. I've got my wife, my daughter involved, my son-in-law involved, so that they can learn. So that when I'm ready to not do this anymore, then they can carry on with the business and keep it going. That's
sure.
I'd like to keep it going just as long as we possibly can. I'm a big fan of these family-owned companies that have been in business for 80, 100 years. That's amazing. I love to see that stuff. So that's what I'm trying to do as well.
Yeah, and it's very commendable because that's very much part of when we're talking about legacies. Some people it's educational, or maybe it's a family-owned business that is their legacy, and in your case, that's the same thing here is building
Right.
something that you want to be strong enough and bulletproof, quote unquote, to where at the time that you pass it to the next generation, they're able to take it and grow it and make it bigger than it was before. And then they can
Right.
pass it in turn to the next generation.
Exactly.
So as a CEO, entrepreneur of your business, are there things that keep you up at night about your business currently?
In a good way, yes. I mean, I'm constantly thinking of ways we can do things better. I'm always trying to learn. So I'm going over, when I'm ready to lay down and go to sleep, my mind is running, who can I connect with tomorrow to help us with that? Who can I help in the process? So I'm constantly trying to learn, constantly trying to refine our business and like I said, just keep it going.
Cool. So do you believe it's important that people create some sort of business planning strategy and financial planning strategy with not only their business, but also even their personal life to have that strategy in place?
Right. Exactly. I'm in a lot of groups. I talk to a lot of people. I'm constantly, as I said, learning and trying to improve not only the business model, but my personal life as well. Because that's really the only way you're going to grow a business is to improve your personal life at the same time. They work hand in hand. If you're not doing good in your personal life, your business isn't going to do well. And the same thing, vice versa. If your business isn't doing well, your personal life's not going to go well. So that that you have to keep them kind of side by side, as it were, and try to grow both.
Yeah. I agree. So what do you think are some of the most common reasons that entrepreneurs are failing in their endeavor or just give up when they're trying it?
I think a lot of the times, and I've talked about this with several people, a lot of times people their pride keeps them from asking questions. That's when I first started, that was definitely one of the biggest issues I had. I was afraid to ask. I was connecting with these high profile people in different groups, and I was kind of afraid to ask because I was thought to myself, these high profile guys are up here doing all this crazy stuff, and I'm starting down here at the bottom. I'm a small fish in a big pond. Why would they want to interact with me? And then as I was in the groups longer, interacted with more people and talked to more people, I got more comfortable. And then I started reaching out and asking questions, how do I do this better? How do I do that better? What do I need to do here? And then that's really when my business started taking off, is when I put my pride aside and said, look, I need to learn this stuff. Otherwise I'm not going anywhere. So that was the biggest thing for me. A lot of people expect that, I'm going to make $1 million overnight deal, and it's just not going to happen. I'm certainly a testament to that. I've been in business for a while now, and things are just now starting to pick up the way level up the way I was hoping, 3 or 4 years ago. But again, it goes back to that main ingredient is you got to ask. You cannot be afraid to ask. If you see those around you are being successful, you got to ask them how they did it, what road they took to get there. And you've got to take all that advice and certainly, implement what you can and what you think is going to help your business. But, that's always the key to moving forward is ask.
Yeah. Mentors are such a huge help because, they say that we're the sum of, like the 5 or 6 people we surround ourselves with. And so, surround yourself with people that have achieved what you want and have the things that you want to have and reach the places that you want to reach. And you surround yourself with those people, and then you will become those people. You'll
exactly right.
Yeah, it sort of rubs off, and it's just kind of the way the world works.
Right. I think part of that, in a way, is when you surround yourself with the people that, like you said, that you want to become. It's more subconscious than anything else. It's we're creatures of habit by nature, and we subconsciously pick up the habits of those around us. So yeah, that's exactly right.
So what would be some of the specific roadblocks and resources that you've encountered over your years, roadblocks that you've had to overcome that you would warn people about, and then resources that you would advise people to tap into?
I think one of the main ones is just not knowing when I first started. I didn't have any kind of business background. I don't have a business degree. I didn't really interact with any business owners, coming up. But once I started to interact with more entrepreneurs and veteran entrepreneurs, I started to go back to what we were just talking about, asking questions, and that's what really helped me grow. Some of the other ones are it takes time to build a business. People have to know you. They have to see that you've been around for a while. They're not just going to buy from somebody they don't know just because. So that was definitely another major roadblock, was not being established enough. When I first started doing hardscapes, I knew we had amazing products. I knew it. When I was first trained how to do it, but the things that we can do with this stuff are simply amazing. I mean, it's one of the biggest things I told people when I first started was, if you can imagine it, we can build it, and basically we can. We do things with concrete that no other company or, I've talked to people that have worked in concrete for 15, 20 years, and they're amazed by what we can do. So it was mainly getting out there, getting people to know who we are, know that we're here and we're going to be here for a while. Building showing them the value of what we can do. And, again, it's just talking to people, getting ideas, because even though somebody may be in a different trade, a different field, as far as business goes, it's all the same. It doesn't matter what your field is, business strategies are business strategies. And that's one of the major areas that Rob Garcia has helped me with. Several others, of course, you've got Steve Kuhn, Ron Suzuki, there's several others, yourself included. The list goes on, and I'm super honored to be a part of all these guys' lives. Other major roadblocks, I think that's really about it. I mean, like I said, it was just getting out there and getting everybody to know who we are.
Yeah. So how would you say that your personal values and your belief systems play a role in your business, and how would you encourage somebody else to incorporate that into theirs?
Well, thanks to the military, I have that never quit attitude. I was certainly taught that growing up as well, which of course helped in the military, but the military really focused in on that and harnessed that. I refuse to give up. I started this venture, and it's not going to be all rainbows and unicorns, as everybody says, from day one. You're going to have those pitfalls and setbacks. And